Thank you for joining me today on the Better Than I Found It podcast. This is Mike McGraw, your podcast host, as well as the men's golf coach at Baylor University. My guest today is former Oklahoma State golfer Sam Lee. Now, Sam's story isn't like any of the other former players I've had on this podcast. He wasn't the prototypical, highly recruited OSU golfer. In fact, as you'll hear, it was Sam who did all the recruiting. The full story of how a South Korean-born Fijian national made his way to Stillwater, Oklahoma is almost unimaginable. It sounds like fiction, really. And the perseverance it took for Sam to actually earn a spot on the golf team was nothing short of amazing. Sam's hard work, humility, and grace were and are inspiring to me as his former coach and to his OSU teammates as well. Webster defines perseverance as persistence in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. Sam Lee embodies this definition. Enjoy the listening. Okay, I'd like to welcome former Oklahoma State golfer Sam Lee to the Better Than I Found It podcast today. Sam, great to have you.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Coach. It's been a long time.
Yeah, you and I have not seen each other in a long, long time. I think it was when I got let go at Oklahoma State, that very end, and sometime in 2013. Been a long time. Great to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you too, Coach.
You bet. Well, listen, you're in the States playing some professional golf. Briefly tell me where you're playing and what you're doing right now.
Yeah, so right now I'm in Colorado. I'm playing in the Monday qualifying for the Colorado State Open. So I'll do that on Monday.
Okay. Are you playing a series of events like several state opens, or what are you doing?
Well, I've got a couple of All Pro Tour mini tour events in August. But I mean, around end of August, there's no other events to play in. And then there's Q School for Corn Ferry starting September. So planning on doing that.
Okay, so you're going to try to play in 3, 4, 5 events leading up to the Q School and then go through that. That's great. Well, it's great to have you in the United States again. It's been a while.
It's good to be back here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, you don't exactly have a Stillwater accent, by the way. You never did.
I don't. No, I lost that.
You lost that. Okay, so this podcast is now about a year old. I've had about a little over 50 episodes. And you're the 10th former OSU golfer to appear on here, guys that I've coached.
Okay.
But your story of getting to Stillwater, 100%, easily the most unique story. Would you agree?
I would agree. Yeah, definitely.
I got to tell you, when people actually hear this, I think they're going to be amazed. I think it's a great story of perseverance and just stick-to-itiveness, if you will, and it was something that stuck with me ever since I was a part of this story. But before we get to Stillwater, tell me about your childhood. I mean, you were born in South Korea, but you're a Fijian national. So how did you get to South Korea? When did you take up the game? Who got you started? Just give us some background on that.
Yeah, so I was born in South Korea. We moved to Fiji when I was 11. And then, well, in the beginning it was just going to be, maybe a couple of years, go to school and learn some English. Then I picked up the game there. And it was my dad got me into it.
Did they have a junior golf program where you were?
Yes, but we lack in coaching staff. So we've had a few local pros and so on, but the level of the golf knowledge is very, very low. And that's probably why I didn't have the great fundamentals. So, but yeah, we had I'm probably the last junior golfer out of Fiji, because it sort of stopped and golf kind of just went away.
Right.
Yeah. So I was playing against a lot of the older guys mostly.
Okay, so you were 11 when you got there, and how long was it before you started playing pretty high level golf, like you could shoot in the 70s? Were you 13 or 14? How old were you?
Probably around maybe 16, 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
but how did you get on that Fijian national team? I know you were on the Fijian national amateur team because that's where our
Yeah.
story goes from here.
Yeah. So we had the Fiji Open in 2008, I believe, or maybe 2007. I was coming in third up until the third round, and then I finished third amateur. But yeah, I just blew up the last round. But finishing third in the Fiji Open helped me get a spot in the World Am.
So that finish right there got you on the world amateur team the next fall.
Yeah, because I was third best in the amateurs in Fiji. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, that's where our story kind of begins here, and it was highly unusual. So, in the fall of 2008, I had two Oklahoma State golfers, Ricky Fowler, who was going to represent the United States of America, and Sean Einhaus, who was going to represent Germany in that World Amateur Championship in Australia, the same one you had qualified for. So you were going to represent Fiji.
Yeah.
So tell me about that week real quick, and then we're going to get to an email.
Yeah, so I wasn't thinking about college back then. I was just excited to play a tournament outside of Fiji, and then while I was there, I learned that Sean and Ricky went to OSU, and OSU was ranked number 1 in the college rankings, and of course I believe Ricky was ranked number 1 in the world.
He was the number one amateur in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, and I actually saw him briefly on the range, and I saw his ball flight. Oh, it was just, I didn't know what he was doing, but it was going right to left, left to right, low, high. So I figured, I could probably beat him. But I didn't know he was doing that intentionally.
That's funny. That's funny. He did practice with a lot of, he was very creative when he practiced.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. And then I watched him play. I think it was the final round. And of course, he won the individuals, and the country, USA, won the teams. And got me interested in Oklahoma State. And I think I believe I played with Sean. He doesn't remember, but he had one of the best short games. He was wild. But
I've coached 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's still the best short game I've ever seen. And a lot of guys could do maybe some things he couldn't do, but on a day-to-day basis, Sean Einhaus had the best short game I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
so you didn't play particularly well, but you had a great experience. It was great. But that kind of piqued your curiosity, this Ricky Fowler, Sean Einhaus, Oklahoma State, college golf, all of that was foreign to you. It was unusual to you, wasn't it?
Oh, of course. I mean, playing golf in Fiji, you don't really get a lot of information. And I thought, I need an education. I mean, I can't just have golf,
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, I'll go to college. I'll look up where to go. And I didn't know anything about NCAA and all that. And I thought, Oklahoma State is the best college golf school. So,
well, I mean, yes, we were. There's no doubt about that at the time. Mm-hmm. But I will say this, I got an email about a week later from a young boy from Fiji. And a college golf coach gets anywhere from 10 to 30 emails a week from recruits, but usually more toward 30 a week.
Right.
So
okay.
Yours was one of those, and I opened it up, and it said, "I'm Sam Yoon Lee." Is that correct?
Yeah. My actual name is Sang Yoon Lee.
Sang Yoon Lee.
But I go by Sam. So.
Sam, and I watched Ricky Fowler play in the World Amateur. I competed in the World Amateur, and I would like to come to school at Oklahoma State University. And I kind of remember what I said. I think I was polite, but I know I told you no, correct?
Yes, I believe you said, well, I can't remember the exact words, but yeah, you had a lot of players on the team already.
Yeah, we had a big team, and I didn't see any reason to bring a kid all the way from Fiji when I had a big team anyway, and I didn't know anything about you. It was pretty certain you wouldn't be able to, come over and take an unofficial visit real quick. So the answer was no.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to step aside here for a moment and allow you to tell me what you then did after hearing no.
Yeah, so well, I didn't really know a lot about how the golf recruiting and all that worked, and so I looked up the uh, Oklahoma State admission information and requirements and all that, and I just applied. So I applied, and I got an academic scholarship, and I thought, oh, this is easy.
Wow, Sam.
Yeah,
So in August of 2009, it's 110 degrees in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and you
yeah.
show up with not even a car. You just show up with your clothes, and that was it.
And my golf clubs, yeah, that's it.
Clothes and golf clubs. So obviously, your first step in this process was taken care of. You were accepted at OSU, and you're on campus. So you know those OSU golfers are on that campus, and somewhere that Coach McGraw is walking around on campus. So something good will come of this. I'm sure you thought that, right?
Oh yeah, I thought I'm already in school. How hard could it be, to get on the golf team?
Okay, what was the first thing you did? I know you checked with Karsten Creek. Memberships were a little too expensive. Stillwater Country Club may be a little too expensive.
Yeah, well, I actually didn't call up Stillwater Country Club. I called up Karsten Creek, and he told me the membership was going to be about $7,000. But he didn't tell me that I would have to go under my parents, and they were based overseas, so they would have got out of state rate or something. But
yeah, you would have gotten the cheapest rate that was available, but you didn't know about that, so you didn't
no, I
take
did not.
So instead, you went to Lakeside. Tell me about the first trip you made to Lakeside Memorial Golf Course, or
Yeah,
almost
so
made there.
well, the first time I tried to get there, I I got a bike, a bicycle, and then I tried to get there without my golf clubs. And back then we didn't have GPS or smartphone, so I just went off the map, and about probably 3/4 of the way, I got really tired, so I went back. It was really hilly.
Well, it was hilly, but it was 110 degrees too. You were just
Oh
wearing
yeah,
out.
oh yeah, of course. Yeah, so I went back, and then later I found out there was a bus that goes to close to the lakeside, but I would have to take 2 buses to get there out of my dorm. So yeah, I got there. I got to the lakeside on the bus, and the driver was asking me all this, all that, and I told him, I came here to try and get on the golf team.
What was his reaction?
Oh, he said, well, I told him I was from Fiji, trying to get on the golf team, and he was really impressed. But he was really nice and telling me, oh, wish you all the best and good luck and all that. And yeah.
But so you joined Lakeside Golf Course because they had a student rate, correct?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. But that's August of 2009. You didn't call me. You didn't tell me you were in town. You just played golf for a year. Is that correct? Or for a while?
For a while, yes. And because I didn't have a car, I couldn't get to Karsten Creek.
Right. That's for sure.
Yeah. And then I found out that the last bus out of Lakeside is around probably 5:30 or 6. And I didn't know there was so much daylight here until like 8:39. And it was just wasting a lot of daylight after school and all that. So I told my dad I need a car. I mean, yeah. I mean, there were no taxis or anything around, so yeah.
So you quit riding the bus, started driving a car to Lakeside, and stayed till dark every day.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
yeah.
It's interesting because you did that for 2 or 3 months, and then you got the courage to call Mike McGraw, the golf coach, And I took your call and I said, hello. And you said, this is Sam Lee. And I said, who? You said, Sam Lee. And I remember this very well. You may not remember this, but you mentioned that you had played in the Fijian national team and you had seen Rick. I said, oh, I remember you emailed me last year. Yes, sir, I did. I would like to come and ask you about a walk-on spot on the golf team. And I said, well, Sam, you don't want to come all the way from Fiji to just do an unofficial visit. You said, no, coach, I'm on campus. And I said, oh my goodness, no, you're not. And you were. And so you came out and you walked 9 holes with me. And boy, this is one mean coach right here, because I let you talk to me for 9 holes and I said, no, again.
Yeah.
I do remember telling you this. I need to see some competitive results. So play in some tournaments. And maybe this time of year from now, you can come back and maybe your record will be so good. So what did you play in that year?
Well, you know, one thing I didn't know about Oklahoma is that there aren't that many amateur tournaments.
Right.
And yeah, everything's sort of like in the summer, and so I pretty much had to spend almost a year to play in tournaments. I played in the state am, the state match play, stroke play, and USM qualifier. I don't know if there was a US Open qualifier.
There was in May. You probably played in that. And I think you also played in the Stillwater Men's City Championship and maybe the Lakeside Championship.
I think it was the city championship.
Did you win?
I did, yeah.
Well, apparently I wasn't very impressed, because when you came back with that result the next fall, I think I told you no again.
I don't know if I actually went back to you. I might have, yeah, but you did tell me no.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, you know, here's what I guess I was hoping you would qualify for the USAM, or I was hoping you would do something really significant to give me kind of the reason to want to put you on the team. Remember, I had a big team.
Oh, yeah.
But I know I told you no again. And then it was quite a long time between, you know, the second time I saw you and then the next time that I saw you. And I'm not even positive, but I think I told you no one more time. And I think you were pretty determined at that point that you thought you would get a membership someplace. Where did you get a membership at that point?
Yeah, so I went back home at winter break. I think it was 2011 winter break. And you know, my dad and I spent a lot of time just practicing, and he told me, you know, you should just get the membership out there. That way you can at least, even if you don't get on the team, you can at least play with the guys on the team. You know, that way at least you'll get better. And yeah,
he was
so
smart to tell you that.
Yeah. So and I think I had just learned, I probably just met you before that winter break. I came and saw you again, and then I think we walked another 9 holes.
We did.
And I learned that the membership was somewhere around 4,000, I think.
No, it was only 2,000 for the out-of-state membership. Yeah, 2,000.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, so that January, I decided to get the membership, and I remember signing a check to Rob Land.
Exactly right.
Yep. And then yeah, I believe, I don't know what Sean told you, but Sean and I were going to play 9 holes with 2 other guys, and you decided to walk along with us.
Well, I will tell you this, 2 things. One, you had been so persistent. And I think I told you no 3 times, and then you just got a membership. I mean, I thought, this kid's serious. And Sean came into the golf shop before you guys were playing and said, Coach, why don't you come out and watch this young man? He's a member here. I said, a member? He said, yeah, he joined. I said, oh my gosh. So I watched you and Sean and Bernard Newman and Patrick Winther play 9 holes. Yeah. And over that course of that 9, I thought, this is crazy. I need to ask this kid onto the golf team. But I didn't tell you that. So we
How
went
you
into my
doing?
office, and I looked at you, and you were just wondering, what is he going to say? And the first thing I said was, you've got red grips on your clubs. You can't have red grips on your clubs in Stillwater. You need orange grips.
Yeah.
And you said, what? And I said, if you're going to be on this team, you need to have orange grips. And you go, does that mean I'm on the team? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yep. Yep.
Well, I did. I made a deal with you that I would give you one semester, that semester of spring of 2012, to
Mm,
show me you belonged on the team. Give me every reason in the world to keep you around.
mm,
And you weren't going to probably compete, but you could play in all the qualifying rounds and everything.
mm.
And did you enjoy that first semester?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, practicing golf is different by yourself, but training, doing all the workouts in the mornings, you know, you can't do that alone, and that was a lot of fun.
Well, I
Uh,
know the guys took to you right away, but I watched very closely. I didn't ever say anything else to you that semester, like you better work hard or you better do this or you better
mm,
do that. I gave you one instruction at the beginning, give me every reason
mm,
to keep you on the team. You never said a word. You just did all your work. And you were the hardest working kid we had. You had talent. I was kind of shocked. You had a beautiful golf swing at that time, very efficient. And you worked hard and you trained hard in the weight room. And you were just a pleasure to be around. So I'd already decided I was going to invite you back, but
mm.
you weren't so sure.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I didn't really have the results I wanted, or maybe even you wanted, but I was there to work hard.
Well, you did that. You come into my
Yeah.
office, I guess the day after your last final or the day of your last final, and said, Coach,
Mm,
I have one question. May I come back next year and play on the team?
mm,
And I almost started crying because I thought to myself, I thought it was obvious that you were going to be coming back next year. No one outworked you, no one had a better attitude, and no one was more liked on the team than you were. And you just did everything we asked, but way more than that. So I said, absolutely. You come back next fall, you're on this team, you're here.
mm,
And I remember that Mike Holder, he didn't throw around a lot of compliments. He
no, I didn't.
not very many, but he did come by and tell me you did a good thing with Sam Lee. That guy's going to be a good player. And so I'll never forget that. And I thought, you know what? It only took me about 2.5 years to figure it out, but I finally got you on the team. And
Mm.
so did you stay in Stillwater that summer of 2012? I can't remember after I said you could be on the team.
Um, I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't remember. I was recruiting that whole summer. So, but
No.
I do remember the fall of 2012. We came back
Mm,
and we had a team retreat in the lodges at Karsten Creek and did some morning workouts and did a lot of team activities. I thought that was really good for our team.
mm.
You didn't make a single event that fall, but you kept on working hard. But I remember you met somebody who had sort of been a hero of yours. Can you talk
Oh
about
yeah.
the night you met Ricky Fowler?
Yeah, so he was in town. Um, and yeah, he came to one of the three of the guys' house, and yeah, we just hung around there, and that was my first time actually meeting Ricky. And yeah, in that photo, you can just tell how excited I am.
I
I
remember
mean,
when Kevin
yeah.
Doherty showed me that photo, I said, boy, that must have been a highlight for Sam. Just,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it was full circle. Ricky was the reason you got to Oklahoma State. I mean,
Mm,
that you even knew about Oklahoma State. And then there
mm.
you finally were standing with him, and he was one of the best players in the whole world at the time. So,
Oh
um,
yeah.
and by the way, he shot 64 yesterday, a good opening round. Did you see that?
I saw the score. Yeah, I actually didn't see
Yeah.
any of him playing.
So, was it everything you thought it'd be? Was he as good a guy as you thought he'd be?
It was actually better than I thought.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
Love to hear
it was
that.
it was one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
He really is, and a great player. And so I thought that was a great photo that the
Mm,
two of you could be together. And And so we went through the rest of that semester, and at the end of that semester, you decided to stay in Stillwater for the Christmas break. And I remember one thing you hadn't earned that fall was your tournament bag, because you hadn't shot under par or even par at Karsten Creek. Is that correct? That's what I've got written in my book here. So
Okay. Well, that might be actually the second bag. I think I did.
Okay, you earned one last spring, the spring before you
I think
earned
so,
one.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but this fall, even though you were competing and trying to get into tournaments, you hadn't earned the bag yet. And so I told you that you could do it over the Christmas break. And we do it. I'd let you try as many as 5 times, like to shoot 72, and the weather was bad, and you were checking the weather, trying to figure out good days for weather. And I put the score you had to shoot in an envelope, sealed envelope.
Yeah.
And anyway, you finally, wind was blowing about 20. You finally earned the bag on the 3rd or 4th try. And I remember that, how proud you were to have earned that golf bag. It was great. But again, just your perseverance, staying there and practicing and working. But still, I wasn't probably convinced you were going to play any golf tournaments for OSU at that point. I wasn't complete. Were you convinced or not?
No, I was not. I mean, you had to shoot low scores, with the guys on the team that are playing well, and I just wasn't. And yeah.
If we played a U.S. Open at Lakeside, I think you'd win every time. You loved Lakeside. You played well
I do
out
love
there.
Lakeside. Yeah. That's where OSU golf started.
You're exactly right. So we have a qualifying for our first tournament in the spring of 2013. And lo and behold, you made it through the qualifying. You traveled to Hawaii. Do you remember thinking about traveling to your first golf tournament as a?
Yeah, so I remember one round that we played in Stillwater Country Club, and it hailed on us a little bit. And
perfect Stillwater day.
Yeah, so, and I actually played quite well, and I think I was the lowest man. And I was very, very calm that day. I can still remember. And I was just playing one shot at a time. And I was playing quite well then, that winter.
Well, I'm going to give you a stat that you probably hadn't thought about.
Okay.
From the day I got your first email to the day we traveled to Hawaii to go to a tournament together was 1,560 days.
Wow.
That's a lot of perseverance right there, Sam.
Wow.
And you never showed any, you never were entitled, like I'm owed this, look how hard I work. You never were upset about any decisions I made. All you did was keep your nose to the grindstone and kept working. And finally you made a tournament. Now, what's really significant about that is I walked all 54 holes with you. I thought this would be a pleasure. I basically caddied without carrying the bag. But you shot our lowest score. You were our best score that week at the Hawaii tournament.
Yep.
Yeah, that had to be a thrill for you. Describe that.
Yeah, so that was my first tournament, and couldn't have been a better place to play. I mean, the weather's warm. I mean, it's quite similar to Fiji, I guess, temperature-wise and humidity-wise. But I mean, first tournament, and I've got coach caddying for me. Yeah, all I had to do was just listen to you.
Well, I knew a good thing when I saw it, and all I had to do was point you in the correct direction, and your ball went there. That was a good thing, I thought. But I was really proud of that moment. Our team didn't play particularly well that week, but you did, and you led the team, and I thought that was a great moment. So 1,560 days from the time you sent the email to the time you got to travel. And not a lot of kids have that much perseverance. And here it is. Since I left Oklahoma State in 2013, it's 8 years later, and you're still playing competitive golf. I mean, you've got a great competitive mindset to stay the course. And I assume you want to keep on doing this. Talk about your pro journey. Talk about, since I got let go of that year, you played one more year at Oklahoma State, and then you turned professional, and you've been playing professional golf ever since. Talk about your professional career.
Yeah, so I when I turned pro, I qualified on the Australian tour, and I actually hit the ball really good that week and putted terrible. But I managed to get the card for the year 2015, and I thought I'll have a good chance. My ball striking is pretty good. I probably need to work more on short game and putting, but back then, putting was probably the worst part of my game, and it's also one of the hardest part, I believe, is because you're always putting on different surface, different day or different time of the day you're playing. Yeah, and then I went on to Asian Development Tour last couple of years or 2 years back, and yeah, I've just been trying to figure out, how I'm going to swing better because it wasn't holding up under pressure.
Well, you have had some success, though. You won the Fijian Open, did you not?
I did. That was, I believe, 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the reason also I went back to Fiji was because we had a professional tournament run by Australian PGA called the Fiji International, and it was a big event. Later, it was tri-sanctioned with European Tour and Asian Tour. So I thought, it's my home course. I'll practice there and hopefully, get something, maybe even a win. I know the golf course pretty well, and I know the weather pretty well. It's always windy. Yeah, and it's a tough course in the wind, and I thought I'd have a good chance. But yeah.
So aside from that, what you're playing over here in the United States right now, and hopefully to get a Korn Ferry Tour card through the tour school, is that correct?
Yeah.
So what would your long-term goals be with golf? I mean, how long do you want to do this? Forever, I think.
Well, actually, before this COVID-19 break, I was sort of in between, whether to keep going or not, because I wasn't playing the way I wanted to. And you can't really keep playing tournaments and not play well. It wears you down. And this break was actually quite good because I couldn't play any tournaments, so all I had to do was just figure out and work on my game. So yeah, this is sort of my second chance to try to make it, and yeah, I'm gonna try and stay as long as I can here, and yeah, do this.
Well, I hope you come visit me in Waco if you ever get down to Texas to play a golf tournament.
Yeah, of course, that would be good.
Anybody that can get from Fiji to Oklahoma State and then play professional golf, I think he can do about anything he wants. So I'm not worried about you, Sam. But I do want to finish, before we stop, we're going to do a speed round here in a minute. I'm just going to ask you some questions I haven't prepared you for.
Okay.
You got to answer those. But before we do that, I just want to say, I coached at Oklahoma State for 16 years. Honestly, there's probably not a more inspiring story than what you did. And you did it with grace and dignity and humility. And it was just fun to watch because I had that same work ethic. I just didn't have your talent as a kid. So it was fun to see. That was sort of a little Fijian Mike McGraw with a little more talent achieving his dream there in Stillwater. So I want to tell you how much that meant to me.
All right.
You never heard that, did you?
No, I have not.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have had that opportunity on the team.
If it wasn't for me, you'd have had it 2.5 years earlier. But okay, let me go ahead and go with the speed round. You ready?
Okay. So do I have to answer this quickly or?
As quickly as you can. As quickly as you can. Favorite course you've played?
Southern Hills.
Southern Hills. Course you'd most like to play but haven't played yet?
Augusta National.
Favorite restaurant, a non-chain restaurant. Favorite restaurant in Stillwater?
Non-chain.
Not a national chain restaurant, just a local place.
Hmm. Is Eskimo Joe's a
That's
chain
perfect.
restaurant?
That's perfect. That's not a national chain. Eskimo Joe's.
Okay.
Country music or hip hop?
Neither.
Well, if it was country music, would it be George Strait or Luke Bryan?
Oh, I don't know any of those guys.
Oh, Sam, come on. Okay, that's okay. Favorite pro golfer?
Ah, it's hard to pass Ricky Fowler after
Okay.
saying all that.
I think you got to go with Ricky. Tournament you'd most like to win?
Ooh, the Masters.
Perfect. Two more questions. Favorite Coach McGraw quirk? It's a little unusual thing about Coach McGraw. Favorite one? There's so many.
Well, you eat ice cream a lot and eat really fast.
A lot of people have said that. That's true.
Mm.
All right, last question. Best investment you've made in golf under $100, less than $100. Best investment.
Best investment. Huh. Oh, wow.
You've purchased things, haven't you?
I have, but I can't think of any right now on top
Well,
of
let
my
me
head.
tell you what it would be. If you took all the rounds you played at Karsten Creek
Mm.
before you got on the golf team and divided it by divided the membership price by that number, I bet that'd be under $100. I bet you played enough rounds.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
There you go. So there's under $100 per round. Very good. Well, Sam, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm hoping that some of my listeners will now be Sam Lee fans, that they'll watch your game progress, and hopefully you get that PGA Korn Ferry Tour card this fall. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, thanks, Coach, for having me on. And yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen you.
Yeah, it has. I've got gray hair now. Sorry. You don't have gray hair.
No, I remember I did little back when I was on the team.
That's because I was too tough a coach for you, probably. All right, well, go get them in Colorado this week. Play well, and then and maybe we'll catch up with you once you get that tour card.
All right, sounds good, Coach.